Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, and today I wanted to go through my top 10 Premier League players of the season in order for the season of 2018-2019. First of all, I wanted to say what a fantastic season it's been. Every single club has a story to tell this season, and there's been a fantastic race to the finish for the title for Liverpool, Manchester City, which is not over yet. At the bottom of the league, there's been stories all around. You've had Fulham, who have spent really big, who have got some big names in there, and they've got relegated. You've got the relegation battle, which is over, and Cardiff has been relegated along with Huddersfield and Fulham. And then you've got the race for 7th spot, so you've got Everton in there. Wolves have been playing brilliantly this season. And then you've got the race for 4th, where they say that, it's been the easiest race for 4th this season, with Arsenal and Manchester United, who were in the running, who have now bottled it. So it looks like Chelsea will take that position. So I wanted to go through the players that shone for me this season. I've got a few honourable mentions that didn't make the cut. So first of all, I chose Ayoze Perez as an honourable mention. And Perez now, who's been at Newcastle for about 4 or 5 years, he came as a young player, and he's always shown a level of potential. But this season, he's really pushed on, especially towards the end of the season. Scored some really vital goals. He scored again the other day, and he's just been fantastic, really dynamic. He's linked up well with Rondon. It really is your archetypal 2 up front, big man, little man up front, and it's worked really well for Newcastle. And his running has been fantastic. He makes brilliant runs, and he's added goals to his game. So Ayoze Perez, I'm sure he'll get better and go from strength to strength. So keep an eye out for him next season. Second is the controversial choice of my honourable mention. That's Paul Pogba of Manchester United. Got my list here. So even though United have had a really traumatic season, really up and down, sacking Mourinho, taking on a new coach, the players have been poor, and even so, I think Paul Pogba, although he does disappear from games, and he hasn't done what we thought he would do, or perhaps he is the player that we never thought he would be, meaning that he suited Juventus more. He had better players around him, and at United maybe he's expected to do everything in midfield, but he's not that type of player. But either way, he still scored something like 10, 11, 13 goals this season and about 10 assists. So he's a leading Premiership scorer at the club. So I think that even though United have had a bad season, he does stand out still amongst a bad bunch. So I will put Paul Pogba as my second honourable mention out of the 3. And my third honourable mention goes to Son of Tottenham. The only reason why Son didn't make the cut is because he was in the Asia Cup, and he also missed some other part of the season. But anytime he's had to come in, especially when Kane's been injured recently towards the end, he's come in, he's scored really vital goals. His energy, his running, his enthusiasm, and there's a lot of talent there. He's a fantastic player, probably the best Asian player we've seen since Nakata, probably. So Son is my last honourable mention. Now, going straight into the list in order, number 10, I chose James Madison of Leicester, 22 years old, attacking midfield player, the number 10 shirt, a player that they signed from Norwich, from the Championship, and who'd have thought that he'd have such a fantastic debut season for Leicester? He's been dynamic, he's been creative, he's got tons of assists for Jamie Vardy, he's just having a great time, and it's good to see such a young English talent coming through, because it's been a while since we've had a player like that who can sit in the middle of the park and can be creative. We've got them out on the wings, and another English player is on the list. I'm not sure you know who that is, playing on the wings. But from the middle of the pitch, it's nice to see James Madison pushing through. And at 22, 23, he's got a bright future ahead of him. And perhaps he won't even be at Leicester next season. I think that one of the big guns, either United or Arsenal, could do with that type of player. Perhaps replacing Aaron Ramsey and Ozil at Arsenal. But I think James Madison should be given a chance at a big club, because he's a fantastic player from what I've seen. So he's my number 10. Number 9, I've chosen Fraser of Bournemouth. He's the player that plays on the wings, predominantly on the left wing. And he's struck up a brilliant partnership with Callum Wilson up front, who didn't make the list, funny enough. But Wilson has scored a lot of goals, and most of his goals have come from Fraser crosses. Fraser is really direct when he gets the ball. He just runs to the byline. He's got a good cross on him, loads of energy, and brilliant player again. It's really been a surprise for Bournemouth. Him and Wilson up front have just been doing it, and Bournemouth are where they are pretty much all the time now, but they're safe, But he stood out. So my number 9 is Fraser from Bournemouth. Number 8 is Alexandre Lacazette of Arsenal. Aubameyang didn't make the cut. I've chosen to go for Lacazette. It was between both of them, even though Aubameyang is high in the scoring charts. Lacazette is Arsenal's player of the season, was voted a few days ago. And he's been the one who has tried to take the games by the scruff of the neck, like they say, when Arsenal have been struggling, which are many times this season, especially away from home. Even though he hasn't scored that many away from home, his performances have shown time and time again that he's willing to graft and put in the work when the game is going against him. And he's added some goals to he's added goals as well to that this season, obviously being a striker, and he's had a good relationship with Aubameyang that keeps getting better all the time. So I've chosen Alexandre Lacazette as my number 8. Moving on to my number 7 is the talisman for Chelsea. Will he or won't he be here next season? Eden Hazard. Again, another fantastic season, buckets of goals from him. He really is Chelsea. You take him out of that team and you're left with Willian and Pedro. I mean, he is everything to that team. And, it's a shame if he does go, probably to Real Madrid. We'll be losing one of the world's best players, I think, in my opinion. And what he's added to his game is the work rate and the tracking back, like we saw from the World Cup. And he's just carried that on into the season. I've watched games where he's literally picked up the ball and he hasn't even bothered looking around to pass to anyone. He'll just take 2 players on and just score. He really is a fantastic footballer. So I've put Eden Hazard at number 7 because I think he deserves to be there. Now, number 6. I've put Eriksen for Tottenham. Christian Eriksen, fantastic talent. And again, he's shown this season how important he is to that Tottenham side, linking the play between the midfield and attack. Just his range of passing alone puts him up there with some of the best players in the league, probably Kevin De Bruyne being the best, but he really is up there. The chances that he creates, his free kicks, his set pieces, he's just been a brilliant player this season. And again, another one that there was rumours he's heading to Barcelona earlier on in the season. I won't be surprised if he's not there again next year. But he's one of my favourite players as well personally, and Eriksen comes in at number 6. Number 5, I've chosen Sergio Aguero of Manchester City. No explanation needed for this one. One of the most legendary Premier League strikers. Tons and tons of goals, goal machine. Again, this season he's kept doing it in scoring all types of goals with his head, with his left, with his right. Some really tight angle goals. And again, he's scored now over 20 goals in the last 5 seasons for Manchester City. It's a fantastic record. Not many strikers in Premier League history have done that. So Aguero is a living Premier League legend that we're watching. And again, unbelievable footballer. So Sergio Aguero goes into number 5. Top 4. Number 4, I've chosen Sadio Mane of Liverpool. No Salah in this list, by the way. Just thought I'd let you know. Mane, I've chosen ahead of Salah. He's really kicked on from last season where Real Madrid were looking to sign him. And he's just been an absolute beast. You always think with Salah when he gets there we go. You always think with Mane when he gets the ball, he's so direct. He's fearless when he runs, and he's brilliant with his passing, with his link-up play with Salah and Firmino. His pace is lightning, and he's just done it. And when Liverpool needed someone this season, and when Salah went on pretty much a goal drought for some time, it was Mane who really stepped up and said, I can do this too. And he's just been great. So it's been brilliant to watch again. Sadio Mane of Liverpool comes in at my number 4. Top 3 now, entering the business end of my list. Bernardo Silva of Manchester City. What a fantastic season he's had. I mean, if there ever was a replacement one day for David Silva, they've already got one. But Bernardo Silva, his energy, his running, his passing, he can score, he can play on both wings in the middle. He's an unbelievable footballer, and we've really seen that this season when he's coming. I mean, they bought Mahrez for like £65 million. He can't even get in the team because Silva's been so good. He's been playing predominantly on the right wing, even though he's left-footed. But he's been an absolute joy to watch. I mean, he'd probably be one of the best players in the Premier League. Top 2 or 3, especially when Hazard leaves. He's only going to get better. And there's no Kevin De Bruyne on this list either. But I'm sure if he was fit and playing like he always probably always does, he will probably make the list. But instead, Bernardo Silva has really stepped up, and he's unbelievable. And he's only like 24, 25. So yeah, there's a lot more to come from him. So my number 3 is Bernardo Silva of Manchester City. Top 2 now. Another Manchester City player, no surprise, is Raheem Sterling. It's really been Sterling's season this year. What a fantastic footballer. It's been a joy to see him develop into the player that he's become. He's also now a goal machine, and you can see how Pep has trained him and coached him to make certain runs in certain positions and his decision making. And he's really taken that on board now. He's probably one in the top 6 best players in the world, I think, at this moment. And Raheem Sterling has really kicked on from last season. And now he's probably one of the early players to put on the team sheet, sorry. I reckon so. And he's just had a great season, loads of assists as well. Keeping players like Sane out the team sometimes. I mean, yeah, Sterling has just been fantastic. And of course, he's had his off the field. He's been an ambassador for like the racism in football, off the field, talking about that and bringing it to light. And he's really been a role model as well. So yeah, Raheem Sterling definitely deserves to be up there. Maybe some people's number 1, but he's my number 2 on the list. So no guessing at who is number 1. I'm glad to see that a defender won the PFA Player of the Year, and that's Virgil van Dijk of Liverpool, an absolute beast. So brilliant, like I said, to see a defender winning the Player of the Year, and also makes it onto my list just for the fact that he just made himself, just by his performances. Universally, people say that he's the best defender in the world, and I absolutely agree with that. He's an absolute beast. And you can tell as well with great players like that how they make other players who are not so good look brilliant. When Lovren is playing next to him or Matic's playing next to him, they just have that level of confidence that they wouldn't have when he wasn't there, like last season. Virgil van Dijk, he hardly puts a foot wrong. He's towering in the air. He scores goals as well from corners. He can bring the ball out. He's comfortable on the ball, a bit like Rio Ferdinand was before. He's strong, he's quick, he has everything, and he's well worth 75 million. It looks like a snip right now if you look at it. And Virgil van Dijk makes it to the number 1 spot on my list. So please subscribe to my channel. I'll be doing much more videos about the Premier League season coming up and football in general. I also have videos on looking at aspects of human behaviour. I've got some interesting interviews coming up on different topics of current affairs. So yeah, please stay tuned. Please support me on Patreon as well, and the link is down below, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.